Welcome in to my two bits. This is First Bites. Tonight we're looking at the rapid reaction of our Florida Gators versus the Ole Miss Rebel Land Shark. Yeah, those people there in Oxford. I am your host, Mr. Randy, along with my other host, Ben B. Give me the good word tonight, my man. After a spirited game, how you feeling?
Yeah. Well, you're just talking about it. I feel a whole lot better than I did last week. I'll say that. Not happy with a loss. Never happy with a loss. Right. No moral victories. Right. But it, I do not feel like I'm in a depressive coma like I did last week. Right. There were at least
Good,
things in this
good.
game that I can look at and say, okay, I like what happened here. There are good things that we can see from this, right? There are positive takeaways from this game. I struggled to find a positive takeaway last week in any measure, right? This week,
Oh,
clearly
yeah.
there were positive takeaways from this game, right? And again, that doesn't mean it's a moral victory. That's not what that means. But we try to look at all aspects of the game, and last week finding any positive whatsoever was mind-numbingly difficult, right? So and not that we only focus on the positives, because there were certainly negatives in this game as well, and we'll talk about them. But I think my general overall demeanor of how I feel and high level takeaway from this game is we showed a great deal of effort, a great deal of fight, which was really good to see, and we had real concerns about that. And obviously, I mean, had to lead in this game for 3 quarters. I mean, barely. In fairness, they scored right after the fourth quarter started to take it, but still, leading this game through 3 quarters. I mean, that's a pretty cool deal when you look at, you know, what was expected here from the line and what we expected to see and everything else. And we got a fair amount of that in fairness, but the fight this team put up was really pretty good. How about you? How you feeling?
It was much better than last week. Much better with the effort. Much better with
Yep.
the Q word because there was no Q word tonight. But I think over last week, the main thing is there are some things that passed the eye test. There was some energy. There was fight. There was the stacking of good plays. There were some interesting concepts, interesting routes, interesting combinations. Um, there was momentum. There was a back and forth. It was kind of a duel there in the first half. It was a little bit of chess. It was had a lot of interesting elements mixed into it. And something that I did not expect was us going into halftime with the lead. So complete shocker, great shocker, but shocker nonetheless. The
Yep.
competitiveness was there. Um, I don't know, just a lot of excellent things that happened. Again, couldn't seal the deal, couldn't finish it off, but again, it's like trying to revive something. Wait, there's pulse. I hear something. I hear movement. I hear action. We got something. And it's interesting. I'm not sure exactly what happened this past week to get their rear ends in gear, but something happened. Someone did something. Someone said something because it looked like a completely different team showed up in Oxford that showed up in Lexington. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No
I feel good
question.
about
No
that at
question.
least. hmm So
Agreed.
here it is, folks,
Agreed.
with First Bites. We're keeping it concise, nice, and simple. So, like our regular show, with our focus on factual analysis and all things Florida Gator football, yes, as you know, we're going to make it as accurate as we possibly can, citing our sources whenever we use them. And of course, as usual, all statistical data tonight coming from ESPN and the box score. Thank you so much, ESPN. Now, first point tonight, let's get into high level game summary. Take it away, B.
Yeah, you kind of alluded to it a little bit. Slow start from us, right? Not from them, obviously coming out firing as you'd expect Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin offense to do, and they did. We came out very slow out of the box, though I not from an effort standpoint, but just not executing well to start the game, and then we kind of turned it around, um, and obviously really put on the afterburners there and managed to put 24 points up in the first half, which is incredible, honestly. And then we managed to put up 0 points in the second half. Whoops. That's not good. And that obviously is the problem because you can't not score in a half against a Lane Kiffin coach team and expect to win. That's just not going to happen, right? Unless you somehow scored 50 in the first half, you're not winning. If you score 0 in the second half or any half, really, probably, unless you somehow have figured out a way to defend that offense, which we clearly actually did a fairly good job of. But despite the final score, obviously getting that real short field position at the end, I mean, we would have really only allowed 27 points there if not for that 2-yard touchdown they got at the end, 2-yard touchdown drive or whatever. But anyway, ultimately I think really pretty good effort from the defense considering, despite the final score, and the yardage allowed. The yardage was significant, but again, bend not break tonight. That's what it took, and that was the right mentality against this team. So overall, slow start, then picked it up into hyperdrive, and then continued to play well, just didn't get the points from it, and then really fell off at the end of the game there. And I'm speaking offensively in terms of how we played. Defense, I thought, really just fought hard all night. On the field too much, really got gassed in the second half, obviously, by those rushing yards again out of them. Tough stuff there. But ultimately, a couple big gains there, especially that huge one at the end, ultimately is what inflated that rushing number too. I don't think the rushing yards would have been that atrocious if it weren't for that. So, ultimately, again, really a solid effort. Again, that did not result in a win, though. So still lost. That still counts. And, we're not going to a bowl. So that's disappointing, clearly. I think if we had played like this in a lot more games this season, we would be going to a bowl. And that's the disappointing part for me, really, when you look back at it. More efforts like we had in this game, we're bowl eligible. We would have won some more games. So that part's really disappointing for me. What you got for high-level game summary?
Yeah. Yeah. Great summary there. Ebb and flow. Ebb and flow. A lot of times this year, I felt like this team was the bipolar team. And
Yeah.
you look at certain games, what we did, how we did it, how we executed, how we didn't execute. And then you'd have another game directly after completely juxtaposed. And you're going, what? Who are we? What is the identity of this team? Unreal. We put together and stacked more plays in this game than any other game I can remember. Really and truly, excluding Texas and LIU. Outside of that, competency.
Yeah.
There was a lot of competency that we showed in this game. So I go back to those $1 million questions that we ask about. Is it execution? Is it injuries? Is it the actual play design? What was so different? Because, folks, I'm telling you right now, obviously, Ole Miss is a much tougher out than Kentucky Wildcats. And this looked like a completely different team.
Yeah.
And guess what? B, you said it before. If you're going to lose going down fighting as much as you can, be competitive. And that's what this game was, especially when you look at that first
Yeah.
half. The third quarter, nobody scored, whatever. But back and forth, this chess match, this is one of the games that had you on the edge of your seat for a while.
Yeah. It was a good
And again,
game
yeah,
the
it's still
first half.
lost.
Really good game.
Right. No moral victories, but to be in a game like that, back and forth, the last time I remember feeling that was maybe South Carolina a couple of years ago in South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah. Good
A
call.
jab, a hook, a jab, a cross, a hook, and then got away. But competency, we showed different levels of competency in this game. Great call out there about the defense getting gassed. And, but it just happened. It just happened. So now, transitioning, let's take a look at some key stats. B, start us off with some key stats that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned the first one that really stood out, which is 0 points in the second half already. That one
Yeah.
obviously is a key takeaway. I think the other one that you really have to look at is the total yards here. 538 to 326.
Yeesh.
Yeah, that's going to be a toughie, right? And that shows you that Ole Miss continued to execute from start to finish in the game, whereas we had, as you said, kind of an ebb and flow, right? It started slow, then we picked it way up, and then it
Mm-hmm.
actually stayed fairly decent, um, but then it fell back off at the end, right? And that's kind of how it was. They're bookended, right, with the poor performances,
Oh yeah.
even though it was better in the middle there, right? We did not have that. And to be fair, I think we could have competed and possibly even won in this game without a similar yardage or even uh, a competitive necessarily yardage total, but we would have had to be over 400, right? There's no way you're winning this game without being over 400. It's not happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that to me is going to be my other key takeaway here. Um, when you look at it. Uh, and then comparatively with that, as a part of that, the rushing yards 108 to 237, right? So that's the real killer as well there. Glad to see us get over 100. That's good, but obviously when you're comparing it up against more than double, that's gonna hurt you, right? It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
hurt you. And then the last thing I'll say, the final one I'll take away, is time of possession. 22:03 to 37:57. This is a team in Ole Miss that does not possess the ball very much, right? So we talked about the defense getting gassed. Almost 38 minutes on the field for the defense tonight against a team that is a run and gun, hurry up style offense. Whoa, that's a problem. I mean, that's going to gas anybody, right? So I think there you see the evidence for it. A couple of times, just not getting those quick three and outs to start the game. Right out of the half, they have a really long, sustained drive, right? That we end up stopping them, right, on a fourth down play at at the goal line, and we come out and we get a really nice play and go down the field, and but then very quickly we're punting the ball back. And it's like, oh, that's too fast, right? We possessed the ball for like maybe 2 minutes. I don't even know if it was two
Mm-hmm.
minutes of clock time. It's too fast. It was great yardage, great field flip, but it was too fast. It was way too fast. I think I would bet, I don't have the numbers, but I would bet you that Ole Miss was like a 13-minute TOP in the third quarter. That's
Mm-hmm.
nuts. I mean, that's nuts. That's where they absolutely destroyed us in the game, and then I'm sure they beat us in the fourth too. But I mean, that's where the bulk of it came from in that edge. So I'll call those my keys. There's quite a few of them there, really, but they all kind of come back to just that disparity in time of possession, yardage, and then obviously that led to the scoreboard. So there you go. What do you got?
Yeah, some great call outs there, no doubt. For me, I think it boils down to the fourth downs. So fourth downs,
Yeah, good
folks,
call.
5 for 7. Get the Sam Hill out of here. Good night. The average team doesn't go for it that much on fourth down. Want to make sure you take care of the football. But 5 for 7, the lane train said, I'm coming at 55 miles per hour, folks. And you know the deal. It takes over a mile and a half to stop a 55-mile-per-hour moving train. And we couldn't stop it. Well, 2 out of
No.
7. That's it. Period. Good night. Great call out B there on total yardage in general, but specifically rushing. Go back to what you mentioned there, 237 yards rushing to 108. Take the 237 minus the big gain with Lacey for 59, and they're at 178.
Yep.
So more than
Yeah,
manageable there.
which is
But
still
yeah,
a big
definitely.
number, but yes, but a lot more containable. Exactly, exactly.
Perfect. Well said. Still a big number, much more contained. Big momentum playoff. 59 is a not just an explosive; it's a mega explosive, right? So
Yes, yes.
the momentum, the crowd, the field position, all those things just get exacerbated with almost a 60-yard run. Exactly. And then my last one, TOP. Absolutely. When you look at this Old Miss, just Lane in general and what he does and hurry up and quick hits and boom 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 get the offense churning with that TOP. Yeah, it was 37-22, but more specifically, if you look at our penalties, we only had 5 penalties in this game. The Gators are top 30 in the nation in penalties, averaging about 5.2, 5.3 penalties a game. Kind of a bright side, right? Of those 5 penalties, however, 2 illegal substitution on the defense because we could not do it in
Not
time
get off the
before they
field.
snapped the
Yep.
football.
That's right. That's right. Well
Key
said.
plays there. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that's that for some high level key stats. Let's move on to impact play. What you got for impact play, B?
Yeah, so I know that we'll call it some stuff in oh my's for the big plays we had in this game, and we had quite a few,
Yeah.
which is great to see, right? Good stuff to choose from there. I'm not picking one of those for my impact play of the game. My impact play of the game is going to be the 4th and 9 play call by Ryan O'Hara at the end of the game there when you call 4 verticals, which hey, I love calling 4 verticals,
Yeah.
but not on 4th and 9 in the shadow of your own end zone. That's a terrible play call there. That's not what you want there because they're especially late in the game when they're going to be guarding against, right, letting somebody get behind them, right? Like you want to try and fool them there earlier in the game and maybe sneak
Mm-hmm.
something past them. Sure. Then I'm even okay with it there. But like with the game on the line, on the 2 yard line or whatever it was, or the 3 yard line, 4 verts, like no, that I mean, we don't ever run 4 verts, and for the record, I don't know for sure it was 4 verts, but it looked like it from the replay angles we saw. It certainly looked like everybody was at least going 20, 30 yards on the field. How are you calling that there? Like they're gonna be ready for that play. All they're doing is playing like a deep coverage gap with like a secondary row of coverage right across the first down markers. But really, all they're really worried about, right? Like they'll almost give you the first down there to a degree. Not give it to you, but like they're going to be softer on that than they're going to be on letting themselves get burnt deep to give up the game. That's going to
Mm-hmm.
be the thing they're guarding against most. And that's what you try to go for? No, that's stupid. That's not a good play call there. That's not intelligent thinking. You're not fooling anybody there. And it's not even about fooling. It's just playing into the hands or into the teeth of what the defense is going to be guarding against the most, like psychologically. The last thing they're going to do in that situation is let something get behind them. I just, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's college football. Kids make mistakes. I get that, but like, that is not an advantage play in that scenario to me at all. I like aggression. I'm all for it, but not. That's just the wrong way to be aggressive in that scenario. Like run 3 verts and then run a 15-yard in route over the middle of the field, and the dude's going to be wide open,
Mm-hmm.
and let him catch that and run. Do that. Do that. That's your play call if you're going to do something like that. Clear everybody out, making it look like you're going deep, and then run somebody on an in route. Make him look like he's running a vert, and then cut it inside.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be your shot, right? That's going to be where you're going to take advantage, get your first down, and maybe even a whole lot more because you cleared out the field, right? There's your play call, but no, that's not what happened. So I don't know, man. I really hated that call. I thought it was a
Yeah.
huge missed opportunity there. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, it cost us the game and everything else, but just did not like the play call there at all. Um, Obviously, we saw some better play calls in this game, which was good. But that one for me was your impact play because obviously it ended the game for us right there. I mean, game was
Mm-hmm.
over at that point. So yeah, that's what I got. What's your impact play of the game?
Fair enough. I can definitely jive with that. I was vacillating between that one and the one that I actually picked, which would be DJ's tipped ball for the interception.
Oh yeah, that was brutal. That was brutal.
It was for a few reasons, and I'll start with this. That drive, it was on 10
Yeah,
plays. So on that snap with the INT, that was the 11th play. We were on 10 plays, 45 yards. We'd run off almost 6 minutes on the clock. That was the
and we
11th
were in
play.
field goal range, and we were
We
in
were
field goal
in
range. So yeah,
Correct. Correct. We're in field goal range. Now, take a look at this. The next 2 possessions after that, loss of down or turnover on downs, and then downs again. And
Yeah,
that's
downs
it.
again.
Because
Yeah,
when you look
yeah,
at it after that, Ole Miss had turned it over on downs, then the touchdown, then the last
and the
possession
kneel out.
after our
Yep,
downs end
yep,
the game. That's it. So we
yep.
really did not have any shot. I apologize. Let me rephrase that. We had a shot, but for whatever reason, the momentum, it was almost when that tipped pass happened. I think a lot of Florida
Yeah,
fans said, "Oh no, not again!" Right? The picks by DJ. He's
yeah,
got more picks than he does touchdowns. Leads the SEC in picks. I get it. I'm not going to harp on him too much, but it just seemed like all the win, well, whatever window was left, just out of that sale and done.
yep, yep. No, that's a good one. That's a good one. Very unfortunate
Yeah.
on that one. Not a bad throw, not a bad read. Just it got tipped, and sometimes that's the breaks. Those are the ones that you don't fault him for, and
No.
unfortunately, those are the ones that still happen in football. So sometimes it's just unavoidable.
And that's the thing. He went to the sidearm. He's got a linebacker coming at him, arms flailing. And again, you know, if guys, linebackers got 2XL hands. If he's got medium hands, he doesn't tip the pass. Whatever. At completion, Mizell, we're still rolling, right? So whatever. Either way.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at impact player of the game. Who is your player of the game, B?
Yeah, well, if you listen to this podcast at all, especially on the full game analysis that we do on Monday, it is going to come as no surprise that I'm going to pick one Miles Graham here. What a game. What an absolute monster game from him. 9 tackles, 5 solo, 1 sack, 2 passes defended. And that doesn't even begin to tell the story of how he was just all over the field making plays left and right, saved like 4 touchdowns, I think, in this game at various different times. Amazing touchdown saving tackles. One of those passes defended was in the end zone. I mean, this guy was out of his mind tonight. I mean, I've seen Miles Graham have some good games, but I think this is his best game in the Gator uniform. He was absolutely incredible, stuffed multiple running plays, especially one on a wide receiver reverse that he was going to go. And Miles just filled the gap and shut it down for no gain, just absolutely stuck the kid. It was incredible. What an outstanding game. I continue to just love to watch him play linebacker. Man, it's going to be a shame when we lose him after next season because he's going pro, because that is an NFL linebacker if I've ever seen one.
Mm-hmm.
He is outstanding. Another great game. Hats off to him. Just continues to play phenomenal football, and I love it. We got
Phenomenal. You know what? I had three that I put in my running, and believe it or not, this one I'm going to go to the offensive side of the football, and I'm going to go to a player that showed up in a big way. We needed him to because, quite frankly, we're injured.
yeah,
T.J.
life support
Abrams.
on because yeah, I was going to say you're probably going receiver because we have none.
Zoom. He's here all night, folks. Uh, TJ Abrams, breakout game for him, 3 receptions, 76 yards, and a long of 47. He did a lot of things right tonight. He showed up, he played big, he played fast, his hands were there. And the other thing I think, especially when DJ found him earlier, um, I think it was comforting for him. J. Michael did a lot of great things as well. J. Michael was right behind, right? 2 receptions, 62 yards, 57 yards was a long. So phenomenal there. But TJ, I think, did a lot of things for him from a comfort standpoint. And let's face it, we we're messaging this back and forth, but obviously DJ looked very different tonight than we've seen him look,
He did.
especially from last
He
week.
did.
Night and day.
Yep.
Night and day. So yes, with an injured core, TJ showed up in a big way to catch some great passes, run some great routes. So hats off to you, TJ. Miles, B, I absolutely see why you would pick Miles. That kid continues to impress, continues to play, and I mean, probably one of the smartest defensive players we've seen out there in a while.
Long time,
And
man. Plays with a
and
really
and
high IQ, and
he does.
yep,
He does. And there's a reason why he's a quarterback of the defense. I mean, I saw him several times, I mentioned to you, lining up guys on the line, moving guys over, especially
yep.
with Sapp. Was lined up off sides a couple different times. They only flagged him once for it, thank goodness. But either way, cannot say enough about Miles. So great call out there. All right. Let's kind of wrap this up in summary and sign us off. Let's take us home, B. What do you got to wrap us up tonight?
Yeah. So one call out on Abrams before we do this. I have to go back and watch it, but I know he didn't have any receptions in the second half. I'm not sure he had a target in the second half. And there goes back to this play calling thing you were talking about and some of that inconsistency of it. Like how does that happen that he has such a great first half and then we do that in the second, right? Like it
Yeah.
just I don't know, man. Again, it doesn't jive. Anyway, so
No.
yeah, so no, yeah. I had to call that out before we move on. But yeah, overall, again, much better place in terms of feelings about the team and the performance and what they put on the field. And I guess what I would say is the talent that we have showed up like it should, right? Last week, I don't know what that was, but that was not the talent on the field even presenting itself. And VB3 played in that game, right? He didn't even play in this one. So, I wish we had him tonight because I wonder what that looks like. But regardless, it was just nice to see the talent be reflected, right? And that was really good. One other thing that has to be made mention of is keep your phones handy tomorrow because there is a ton
Oh
of
boy.
smoke about something coming tomorrow. I don't know what it is. I don't know anything. I do not have an inside source on this at all. Neither one of us do. But man, there is buzz everywhere. If you haven't seen it, if you're not as dialed into this stuff, if you don't listen and pay attention, but from a coaching standpoint, and it was supposedly win or lose tonight, there's supposed to be some kind of news tomorrow in regards to Lane. I don't know that it's actually going to happen, but I have seen it from like 20 different places saying that something is coming out tomorrow. Again, I don't know what. I'm not committing to anything. Maybe it doesn't even happen. I don't know. We thought last year that the boosters were getting the money together and Napier was going to be fired, right? Everybody was
Yeah.
saying that, and then nothing happened, right? So maybe it's nothing. I don't know, but there is an awful lot of smoke, including the one that I think maybe gives the most credence to it is that Bet Online removed the odds.
Yes.
They're gone. There are no odds for who the next Florida coach will be. You cannot bet it anymore on Bet Online. And if you're any kind of a betting enthusiast, you know that usually only happens when they know that there is no longer a bet that can be placed because the outcome has been decided.
Decided.
So,
Hmm.
for what that's worth, that was highly interesting to me. I'll leave it at that. We'll move on. What are your closing thoughts before I sign us off here?
Oh man, I can just see right now the emoji, right? The emoji of someone eating popcorn, just waiting, waiting to hear
Yep.
the announcement.
It's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting. I really do think we're going to hear something tomorrow. I don't know if it's an announcement. I don't know if it's just, enough news that kind of semi-confirm. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know what it's going to be, but
No,
keep your phone
correct. We
handy
don't
tomorrow.
know. We don't know. Um, you know what? So a couple things on this game. Did not know, truthfully, did not know what to expect at all from this game. I made the
No,
comment earlier.
no.
I didn't realize, I wouldn't have pegged us to have the lead at the half. I would not have pegged us to be as competitive, to seem as competent at times. Again, the
Agreed.
bookends didn't start the game great, didn't finish the game great. But there was enough meat and potatoes to keep the bones warm and do something and have some spirit and competition in between. So that's good. Other thing that stinks, B, you mentioned it earlier, bowl eligibility, bye bye.
Yep.
Bye bye. Sorry.
Yep.
It
It's
is
too
what it
bad.
is. Gone.
It's too bad.
Okay. And the last thing is, what do we do? I mean, 3-7? What do we do? Who do we have left? We got Tennessee. We got Florida
Got
State.
two rivals left is who we got left, and they're both at home.
Two
So you hope that helps.
Exactly. Two huge rivals. Play for the patch, represent the name. Play strong, play hard. We have the capabilities to do it. Which team shows up against the Volunteers and against the Criminals? Don't know. Season's already gone. We know that. Last thing is when DJ went to the bench after that last possession, it seemed like, I don't know, seemed like a very strong emotional response and breakdown. So B, you'd mentioned it before about does this kid just he doesn't know how to deal with losing? He's never been in this position. You heard his
Mm-hmm.
comments. I don't dig losing. That's not me.
Yep.
A lot of emotion. The most emotion I've seen out of him in a minute, obviously not in the best way, but do we take
Right.
all that? Do we refocus? Do we rechannel it to start building the momentum for 26? Who knows? If all we can do is finish strong, play with pride, chins up, and we'll see what happens. Again, folks, keep your phones handy because you never know what in Sam Hill's going to happen. And the Ole Miss crowd, whether they feel it or not, of course, you saw what they started chanting at the end of the game. You heard it. So either way,
Yeah, I
it's
want to
going
know
to
how many
be
Gator fans were
amazing TV.
chanting that too.
Yeah, right.
Might have all been
So
chanting that one.
no
Be
kidding.
interesting to
So
see. Be
very
interesting to see
interesting.
for sure.
Extremely.
All
Yeah.
right.
Sign us off, my
All
man.
right.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, man, for sure. For sure. Well, thanks for everybody for listening. As always, if you enjoy the content, please hit like on whatever platform you're listening on and hit subscribe if you want to hear more. We will be back to you on Monday night again, a little bit later than normal, not as late as last week, hopefully, but perhaps a little later than the standard record time. But with that, we will talk to you then with our full game breakdown of this one and maybe some other news. We'll see. I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know. We'll find out together. But with that, wherever you are, whenever you may be listening, thanks for taking the time, and we will see you around, Gator Nation.